How we doing, everybody? Good evening. Yes, I'm back. I had a little break, and yeah, I needed a bit of a break, to be honest, because I am shattered. And for every teacher out there, respect you. We finally got there, particularly in the UK. Yeah, it's our last day tomorrow. Dear God, I am so tired. And even though I've been doing supply teaching, I've been working full-time supply teaching. So yeah, I am shattered. How are we doing, everyone? um, just said a quick hello to everybody who's in the chat already. Good evening, everyone. So obviously, Sir Pomp and John Boy and Catherine Lawrence and Diane and Tim. Good evening, the wonderful mods, Kaz and Catherine. Who else? We've got Dealey Boy. Good evening to you. And just go down. Just going down the chat. If people just been chatting to each other before. Okay, Mike's Mysteries. Good evening. And who else have I got coming here? And another Mike Rochets, and Roger and Jan and Shelley. Good evening. How we doing? And I was going down. And James, hello. And Drew, hello. And Kat. And Sarah Bowman, hello. Sam Hain, good evening. Who else we got? Like I said, I'm not going to do the full beardo thing. I'm really not that good. Chris Williams, how we doing? Out of sync already. Wonderful. I don't know why that is. It really annoys me. So Egbert Swizzlestick, good evening. Out of sync from the start. Jesus. Hopefully we'll get back in sync. What is it with the syncing thing? Anyway, I do hope to get a better laptop which can actually cope with a microphone of all things. Right. Hey, Kaza. Good evening to you. And Lynn68. Hello. And Julie N. Welcome along. So, for those that don't realize, this evening's topic is out-of-body experiences. It is a genuinely really fascinating topic. It's a bit mad. I've been kind of reading up on a little bit about OBEs, whatever you want to call them, astral projection, and it is fascinating. So straight away, if you are in the chat and you've had any experience of out of body experience, and I do mean out of body experience, not sleep paralysis. There's a bit of a difference between the two things. A full blown out of body experience. We'll go into some of the rational cases, or what scientists believe, or neuroscientists believe is responsible for out of body experiences. But also some of the causes, some of the experiences that people have, which is really fascinating. It's utterly nuts what some people get, and all the little differences and things. So yeah, so that's the topic. So before we go into, and I know right at home you might be wanting to put it in the chat straight away, let me know what's going on and what your thinking is. Don't do that just yet. What I'll do is I'll go through a few things first of all, and then once we've done it, I want all your thoughts, all your ideas, or any experiences, anything you think. So that's the plan. There we go. Right. So out-of-body experiences. Basically, for those who don't realize what an out-of-body experience, it is the phenomena that is associated with the perception of being, or the feeling of being outside of your physical body, but being really cognizant, so being fully aware of what is going on around you. Typically where you're able to view your body from above, and some people, it's also typical that some people may be able to not only see your body above, but also travel, whether that's from room to room or outside of your home, going down the streets, going to different locations. It is a mad one. I think this is different from sleep paralysis, because sleep paralysis you tend to have very limited control with things. So sleep paralysis is all about, you feel as though there's something in the room with you. Thank you for being a member, Sam Hain, for 9 months. Yes, feeling as though you've had something in the room that may feel pressure on your chest, but basically not being able to move. Whereas this is completely different. So it is a bit of a mad one. So Um, there is so much out there around out of body experiences. The reason I wanted to talk about it was because a little while back I was going to have a guest on called Samantha Treasure, who's written a book about out of body experiences. I am in no way an expert in this field, right? But she was going to come on. She'd written a book about it, and unfortunately, because of time differences and she lives in Korea, to give you an idea, it just wasn't possible. And I do hope to get her back, on in the future. But it kind of fell by the wayside, unfortunately, because she's extremely, extremely busy. So I do want to get Samantha back on soon. So let's go for the scientific reasoning behind out of body experiences. So hang on, James. I'll come on so you can talk about it later, right? So scientists believe, and anybody in who studied this believe it is to do with an area of the brain called the temporoparietal junction, so TPJ for short. Essentially, it's the part of the brain that is responsible for taking all the information from your body, the visual information, the auditory information, the sense of touch that you have, and it makes sense of all of that and it processes that so that it gives you guys a sense of your own reality, of where your own self, where, your perception of the world. And so they believe that the temporoparietal junction, it gets affected by a number of different means. So the TPJ part of your brain can be affected by whether it's medication, drugs, whether it's drug use, whether it's through an accident, whether it's brain trauma. There are loads and loads of different things which can actually cause the TPJ part of your brain to basically be screwed up. And at that point, your mind, the idea of an out of body experience is it's the point where your mind may create an alternate version of reality, which is just mad to me. So your brain is basically taking in memory, expectation of what it expects it to happen, and its own imagination, a bit like in a dream state, and it creates an alternate reality, in which case you may feel completely disconnected from your physical body. So that's the medical side of it. There's a psychological side of it that psychologists will say, well, actually, yeah, it could be it could be different things like substance use. There's a trauma, high stress. I've got a whole list here. Something called DDD. Hang on, let's get it right. Depersonalization, derealization disorder. Basically, feeling detached from your physical body, or feeling that you're completely attached. That also, out of body experiences can be induced from panic attacks, sleep disorders, substance use like LSD, ketamine, that kind of thing, sensory deprivation. And some people think that you can actually induce an out-of-body experience through meditation, through medication, or visualization. Now, there is all kinds of crazy stuff so some people think they can. I mean, to give you an idea, right? I remember when I was growing up, my next door neighbors would say to my parents, they say, "Oh, we have out of body experiences. We can willingly have out of body experiences." They were really into it. Now, as far as I know, even though this is the 70s, they would say they got into a kind of a relaxed state, and they could willingly get to the point where they can induce an out of body experience, and they could travel around in their spiritual body to different locations. And also they said they were complete control. They're really relaxed about it. They used to do it regularly. And then when they were ready, they would consciously think, okay, I'm ready to go back now. And they snap back into their physical body again. It is, I mean, I know so little about this, and it is fascinating. So whether you go with medical studies would say it's the temporoparietal junction, right? Psychologists would say, well, it's also got these other factors as well, right? Um, Other neurologists would say it could also be affected by brain lesions and tumors. Epilepsy can cause it. Migraines can cause it. Some kind of brain injuries can cause it. But what I find really fascinating is the experiences that people have had. There are loads and loads and loads. So, Kazas, here, this is one experience that people are meant to have had. This is absolutely Kazza. This is one which has been really documented that apparently before an out of body experience is about to take place, there is a feeling of tingling or vibration. Now, some people feel that there's one particular area of their body. Some people have a tingling sensation in like a finger or it twitches. There's also some people that believe they can hear noises or sounds which are very, very particular. So some people describe it as a whooshing sound. Some people describe it as a mechanical sound, all of which apparently occur just before you're about to have an out-of-body experience. There is some people have this experience where they are not in control of their bodies. So they are being. So some people say, well, they can only move their eyes, but their body is being moved, or their spiritual body is being moved or pulled by another force, entity, or spirit being, or spirit guide. Some people describe it as different things, whereas others say they are in full control of their bodies and they can essentially move wherever they like, whether that's room to room or street to street, and they can go where they like. So there's loads and loads and loads of different kind of people have different experiences. Another thing that's been described, which I find it really fascinating, is some people describe when they're astral projecting, or they're going lost in their spiritual body. Some people describe being invisible, otherwise known as stealth mode or ghost mode. So you can go up to somebody and they are completely unaware. You can go into a restaurant in your spiritual body, and people are around you. You can talk to them and they cannot listen to you. They cannot hear you. You can prod them. They're not aware of your body at all. So you're completely invisible. So it's like you're kind of skulking around and spying on people. And but also there's a certain proportion of people that is meant to have had these experiences where they are visible to other people, which I just find really fascinating. For those which makes you think, are ghosts, is another one, throw it out there, are ghosts people who are having out-of-body experiences and they can be seen or partially seen? Throwing it out there, right? Another thing that people experience is there's a really common idea that you have some kind of cord or thread and I think it's usually described as from your navel, from your belly button, which connects your spiritual body to your physical body. Some people don't see it. Some people have seen it. I think it's around 10% of people say they can actually see the physical silver or silky cord that connects their spiritual body to the physical one. Yeah. It is madness, this. It is so, and the more you look into it, it is really, really interesting. Yeah, Beardo, good evening. Hello there. Yes, I'm back. Well, I thought I needed a day. I needed a couple of days off, but I thought I better get back into it. Bloody hell. And so this is easy. This is easy kind of thing. Right, so let's get into, I'll put the overlay on. Let's take a look at what people are saying about out-of-body experiences. So yeah, so neurological reasons, psychological reasons behind everything, but the overall there's like there's some really interesting things that are going on. Let's have a look. And what's that? Hang on, what's Dealy Boy saying? My ex-girlfriend saw that I was haunting her and sent her friend around to wake me up. That's cool. If you know, that your girlfriend seemed to have that feeling that you were actually haunting her. I'm glad he missed it. He ruined. I apologize, Bearder, for ruining your Monday for not being on. Yes, John Boy, I got kind of 6 weeks off next. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Chris, absolutely, Chris, saying this whole idea of a silver cord comes from the maybe because of, that connection with the umbilical cord. Yeah, I think that's where it came from, that feeling of kind of connection with something else. But I think some studies have put it as 20% of people have kind of experienced this kind of seen a silky cord connecting their spirit body with a physical one. Others have said no, actually it's less common than that. It's more like 10%. But yeah, so it is very, very fascinating. Not sure what's Jan saying. Not sure why I bother with the chat overlay. We can see our chat and you can see yours on screen. Okay. Well, some people, if you want, I can turn it off. I can turn it off. But some people like when they're watching on catch up, they don't have to watch it on catch up with the live chat open. They can just see people's comments in time when it's catching up. But if most people don't like it, I can turn it off. Not a problem. Let's have a look. What's Mike saying? Happened to my mum when giving birth to me. It was a horrible birth, and Dad was basically told to pick which one of us to save. She says she was looking down at herself as I was born. Yeah, this whole idea of that being, I mean, like I said, that there are the psychologists and neuroscientists would basically say that yes, an out of body experience can be induced from medication, from heavy medication, and it can screw up this part of the brain. I'll say it again, if I can remember the name of it: temporoparietal junction. There we go, TPJ, which is the part of the brain, for those that just joined us, in charge of processing all the information that comes at you and then giving you your sense of self. So therefore, if that gets screwed up by medication or drugs or trauma, therefore it can screw up your idea of your sense of reality. Mike Larry, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. 20 memberships. Thank you so much, Mike. That's bless you. If you get any of those memberships, I'm sounding like Seg now. God, Seg always does this. Thank you so much, and he does this praying thing. Taking the mick out of Seg. But yeah, if you did get any of those memberships from Mike, please say thank you in the chat to him. It's an absolute diamond. Thank you, and I genuinely thank you so much, Mike. Always an excuse to take the mickey out of Seg. Talking of Side Eye Guy, by the way, he is going live this evening, so it's about an hour after I finish. So absolutely don't go over to him. He would do the same for me. Don't bother. So yeah, it is like a fascinating field, and particularly those who feels they've kind of had an experience similar to this is really, really, really interesting. So I'm going along. I'm just trying to follow the chat and trying to pick out some of the comments that people have made. There we go. Lynn68. Justin, some people say that they float above their body when having an operation. They even describe things afterwards. Yeah, there's I've forgotten the name of it now. There is a field of study which is that where people have said they've had an out of body experience and they've been able to describe particular incidents that have occurred, like I say, on operating tables, or they've overheard conversations, and they can when they go back into the physical body, they can report on those on those conversations and things, and therefore it is much more believable this is a spiritual thing rather than it being in somebody's imagination. But the issue with that is from what I've read, that is purely anecdotal, and that particular There's been no hard and fast studies of things that have proven that something that's been overheard or seen by somebody has actually occurred. I think there was a study where they hid things around the room, or like, and so if you had an out of body experience, you could see and read the message from I don't know, on top of a cupboard or wherever it was, somewhere out of sight. And yeah, there was no proof of that apparently. But anyway, Kaza, thank you so much for your 20 memberships. Between you and Mike, you're absolute treasure. Thank you so much, Kaza. Again, same with Mike. If you've got one of those 20 memberships from Kaza, make sure you say a big thank you. That's, it helps the channel massively. I can't tell you how much it helps. So thank you. Kaz Scarlett Dynex that used to practice astral projection, and I woke up one night and he had come in through a closed window. Jesus. Scared the crap out of me. I thought it was a dream until he later told me. Wow. Okay. So that's the whole thing I said about some people are invisible, but some people are visible. Which so that's obviously on the visible spectrum. That's a fantastic example. Thank you so much for that, Kaz. That's crazy to me that people can actually witness somebody doing that. What's Sarah saying? Remember 6 months level. 6 months. Can I get time off for good behavior? Of course you can. You've done your time, Sarah. Thank you so much. Mike's mission, it happened last night. She cried out immediately. Phone vets first thing. She was laying here growling and grumbling. Oh, that's what are you talking about? Pets for Sponge. So Spookfest saying I did see myself bleeding on the ground and my friend standing near me after I fell. What's that? After I fell off the car. After I fell off the car and had an NDE. Yeah, the whole idea of an NDE is very, I suppose it's similar to an out-of-body experience, but I think the only really difference is that with a near-death experience, it is usually linked to, possibly dying or it being out of your control. I think the difference with an OBE is you're much more in control of the situation. But yeah, fascinating. It is the whole topic is really fascinating. Another biker who had a head-on collision with a car. He was out and turned out very seriously injured, but he can clearly remember the scene from looking down at it, and he did make it a good recovery. Thank you so much for that, Drew. Awesome. Let's go down. Like I say, I'm trying to kind of go. I'm not trying to go through everybody's chat. I'm just to go through the main things that people are saying. What's that? Bumps into things of the night. Let's have a look at this one. If you've left your body behind, how would someone be able to see and recognize you? I know, right? This is what gets me is that this is just some of these things I get can be explained. Like I said, that the whole medical side of it can absolutely be explained by science. What blows my mind is those occasions where apparently people can be seen astral projecting or having an out-of-body experience by other people, so they can see their spirit body of somebody who's like lying in bed, and it is usually in a sleep-like state, but their physical body, their relaxed state, and they can see their spirit body, which drives just absolutely just fries my brain. I can't even begin. And maybe this is where ghosts are from. Maybe it is. Denise, thank you for being a member for 10 months, saying it happened to me once. Hey, everyone. Thank you very much. If anyone wants to try an out-of-body experience, it takes practice. Try listening to binaural beats to assist in OBEs, and you'll be hooked. Such a great feeling of freedom. I can remember trying to do this. When you're a teenager and you kind of trying to I was trying to get into weird stuff, I suppose, but surprise, surprise. There is one thing. There are loads of books out there, first of all, where if you want to try and induce an out-of-body experience, there are techniques and means of it. There is one called I think it's a rollout technique, which I heard of, where you are in a really relaxed state and you visualize your spirit body kind of almost rocking from side to side, and you visualize it becoming a separate entity from your physical body, and that can induce an out of body experience. There are loads and loads of techniques, but yeah, through sound is one. There are lots and lots of ways of doing it. So yeah, if you're interested in trying to do it yourself, apparently it's possible. I've never been able to do it, but there are lots of ways and means of that where people have done it through meditation and visualization. Okay, Emma's saying, I've had an out body experience a few years ago. I was outside my body, looking down at myself, sleeping in bed, connected by a thread of white. I then heard a voice saying, it isn't your time, and then I slipped back into my body. I assumed it was a very vivid dream. It is. All these are just fascinating. The silken thread thing is runs through a lot, through a lot of cases. There are some where that it sounds almost like a near-death experience. The whole thing, it's not your time yet, that you need to go back. I've heard some people say it's almost they can have full control of it and they're not scared. It's kind of a positive feeling, an enlightening feeling where you can actually travel around. Whereas some people think they might get a bit nervous when they move away from their physical body. They get a little bit nervous and they think, oh God, I don't know if I can do this. And at that point, they snap back into the physical body and wake up. So it's mad. The thing I don't understand is if your brain is left behind our body when our soul leaves, how can our soul experience anything without a brain? That's a great question, JT. Absolutely. Let's have a look. Spitfire, do you think the volume of paranormal you see could be linked to your near-death experience? That's a great question, actually, Beardo. Yeah, that's a great question. Do you think you'd be able to experience more having had a near-death experience? Because that's one of the things. If you've been closer to passing over, then you may be more likely to experience things. Really good. Hey, Weird Fox. Good evening. I don't try to do out of body experiences a couple of times now. It was nightmares or just scary. Yeah, I think some people confuse out of body experiences with sleep paralysis, and what's the other one? Lucid dreaming. Isn't the one? So this is very kind of obviously a very different experience where you've like I say, you seem to have more control over what's going on. I read about a prisoner who kept using astral projection to keep visiting his victim in her home. Oh, God. That's really not... That's horrible. Really horrible. Yeah, all right. I've just seen your lip syncing comment, Sarah. Thanks for that. I don't know if anybody's come across this experience. I experienced my astral body float out of my body and I could see it from my paralyzed body. It was a white orb about 10 inches in diameter. Oh my God. I've never heard of that before. I've always been people seeing their physical body, but not the other way around. That's mad. That is nuts. And again, these things take so long to kind of... Come on, let's get over it. Leanne said, I've been seen by other people and I was sleeping. Oh man, it just fries my brain, this, right? I get the medical arguments. I really get that. And I almost get, I like the idea that you can travel to different locations and travel to different places and go wherever you like. And it sounds kind of cool, whether it's stealth mode, like in a game, or ghost mode in a game, right? That's cool. I love that. But the idea that you can have an out-of-body experience and be seen by other people, and your spirit body, however you want to call it, can be seen by other people, just makes my head explode. Because then at what point do people then think that your spirit body's a ghost or an actual real person having an out-of-body experience? You wouldn't know the difference, would you? Do look the same outside of our bodies. The body's just a machine. The ghost spirit thing doesn't have to look the same, does it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Would your spirit body be a carbon copy of you lying there on your bed in your bedclothes, for instance, or would it just be would people even? I'm assuming people would even would recognize you. Happened ever since I had a near-death experience, but before that too, I could make my body numb and kind of leave my body, and I didn't know what an out-of-body experience was then. That's cool. That's cool. I love the fact that some people have actually tried to do this. Do you think out-of-body experience is just you being in an deep dream that seems so real? Yeah, there's that whole thing about lucid dreaming. And people think, well, if you're is that essentially what an out-of-body experience is? I think this is more than that. Naomi Clark, thank you. This is a really common one as well. Apparently, my dad had one whilst being resuscitated whilst having a heart attack. I'm trying to go through these. The chat's moving quite quick. Diane, open those chakras. I think these chakras have been closed for a long time. These chakras are not going to open. There you go, Kaza. You can use. I've not heard of this one. You can use the rollout. So I talked about this rollout technique or rope technique. I'm assuming that's where you visualize literally being pulled from your physical body out. I'm guessing. Again, visualization rather than any other means. But yeah, it is mad. Just after my dad died, Mum downsized her home. Dad came to me in a dream because he couldn't find her. We flew over the houses to her home. It was so real. That's just, that is crazy territory. I just love that. I love the idea you could just fly over the houses and just feel as though you're actually flying. Yeah, an easy way is called acid. While not legal, I'm sure it could work. I'm sure it could actually, because the neurologists say that you can induce out-of-body experiences through the use of medication. Anything that disrupts this TPJ part of your brain will have anything, whether it's, they mention obviously like ketamine and LSD and stuff like that, but anything that's going to disrupt that part of your brain, they're saying could induce one of these things. So yeah, I don't know if any hallucinogens surely would have an effect on that part of your brain. I'm guessing. Christina, do you think you can have an out-of-body experience if you're hypnotized and told that you're going to have an out-of-body experience? Well, I'd guess so actually, because if you're in a meditative state, if I can put my teeth in, I think you probably could, and I think it links into one of these things that that people say you can induce these things through hypnosis and stuff like that. So yeah. Oh, Truth Seekers, good evening. Try Monroe Institute Focus 10 Gateway Project that is to help induce OBEs for anyone interested. I tried, felt I was getting somewhere with it. It's difficult to feel in a fully relaxed state. Cool. And Kaza, you need to be aware of when you're ready to have an out-of-body experience and then visualize rolling out of your body or a rope where you pull out of your body. It's mad. It's fad. When I had mine, I floated down the stairs in the house. Denise, saying your body vibrates. It's weird. Yeah, I've said that earlier. So this whole idea of a vibration or a noise, a sound, like a whooshing sound or a mechanical sound, immediately before the out-of-body experience is about to take place. Really, really interesting. This was pre-recorded, just did a poor dubbing job. Yes, I know. I don't know why this bloody off. I don't know what it is. Some weeks, absolutely fine. Other weeks, I'm completely out of sync. So I apologize. I know it looks like a bad, Chinese martial arts movie in the 70s. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Beardo. Yeah. There we go. Thanks very much. Yeah, I know. It's not good. Bodies like cars. We drive them, repair them, and when we can't, we junk them. Uh, what's Kazza saying here? You can also say a protective mantra before an out-of-body experience to safeguard your body while traveling. And that was the thing. One of the things about the cord thing, wasn't it? The whole idea of seeing a silk cord, which I think 10% people see, but it's it's seen almost like a safety net, like almost like a tether to keep, so you don't completely lose your physical body. And so I had one experience terrified me as I was floating above my body, looking down and saw my son lying beside my body, crying. Like that, I saw my dad, who told me I had to go back. Was so scary. Jesus, that does sound genuinely terrifying because you don't know if you've actually died or not. Bloody hell. Mike's mistress got hit by a car when I was 8. Remember a circle of people around me, but I woke up days later in hospital. Maybe I just opened my eyes a bit. I mean, I think this is. I mean, there's so many comments, and it is like a can of worms. It's like this is like a safe space to kind of talk about these experiences. My friend was asleep on the sofa. I saw his astral orb being enveloped by an evil black mist, whilst his physical body was fighting and kicking. He remembered this. Jesus, that's horrible, and actually really scary. My God. How many astral pervings, says Egbert? When I had my near-death experience, I was still there, but in a void and very relaxing, and something saying I'd be fine and felt good. Some lights in the distance. Then someone pulled me out. Believe my guardian angel. So Spookfest, and again, this whole idea of a guardian having, I was about to have my own out-of-body experience karaoke in a bar at Blackpool. Have fun, Weird Fox. This whole idea of that you feel as though it's linked to some people when they have an out-of-body experience, they're being pulled along by somebody else, or so they're not in control. But they feel as though the person or the thing that's pulling them, the force that's pulling them, is like a guardian angel or a spirit guide or something like that. Somebody is like a higher power that is making sure they're okay. It's really, really fascinating. Ghost Wiener, top level creepy, standing next to a bed and watching yourself sleeping. Yeah, I've never had that. And I don't know if I'd want to see myself sleeping in that kind of state, because that's got to be freaky. Surely to God, that's freaky as hell. Let's have a look. So me seeing the ghost of my granddad as a kid was in fact me projecting. Damn it, I'm going to be bald. It is. I mean, this whole topic is, I know that there are rational explanations for these things, or some of these things. Certainly, I think it's, it is partly been. I mean, in the medical world, they say it's been, explained. It's explained away. It's just your temporoparietal junction in your brain that is been screwed up by different number of factors, and therefore you then lose all sense of your own reality, and that is what an OBE is. I just don't think it's as clear cut as that in a way. I think there's so much more that's going on. There was a famous USA test where the Society of Psychical Research had a secret written in an envelope, and famous OBE practitioner read it correctly. Fab. I've been doing lucid dreaming, OB, past life regression for years through meditation and binaural beats. I need to get into this. It sounds really cool. I don't know if I'd be terrified or really fascinated. I would love to kind of do that. I remember doing it, or trying to do it as a teenager, and just not getting it. I remember the closest I get is getting in a really relaxed state and then just falling asleep. That's typical bloke. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got to deal with it. When a child, I used to go to sleep as drifting off. I could rotate my astral body like flipping lengthways, rotating around my hips. I used to be able to easily do this. Then I learned I could move more. That's crazy. I mean, to me, who's somebody who can't do this, I find it is the whole thing fascinating. Did you sponge? Did you fly over the houses with your snowman? I love that. I love that film. I took out a hell of a lot of acid as a teen, and none of that happened to me. Oh, God, you're brave taking acid. Jesus. Okay. Again, in my experience, when I've been doing CPR, again, afterwards, I've wondered if they were stood next to me. Always thought that. Yeah, I mean, you'd know you're on the front line, as a police officer, Tim. And obviously you'll probably have seen more kind of death close up than most people. And so, yeah, I kind of get you might feel that, particularly if you're kind of into the paranormal stuff as well. Rope technique is visualizing a rope hanging from a ceiling, and when ready to do an out body experience, you visualize grabbing the rope and pulling out of your body. Oh, that's fascinating. I didn't act it. I thought it was kind of almost like pulling from yourself, but I say you visualize it from above, then you kind of pull yourself out. That's cool. Anyone can just lay down, fully relax, and just tell your body it's not there. Some tones help, but can be silent. And let's go down. Lucid dreams are cool. Oh man, Simon, I'm genuinely jealous. I would love to see Darren Brown. Go see Darren Brown next week. So probably will end up being hypnotized and all kinds of out of body experience, out of body weird stuff. I would love to see Darren Brown. I would so love to interview Darren Brown. Of all the people, he's up there. I've got to say, he really is up there. Mike Larry, I heard an account through a Buddhist group. This Kiwi guy is practicing astral traveling, and he flew somewhere astrally where he saw some guy doing dodgy stuff, and so he confronted the guy. But we're gonna have to wait for the next part now. Oh, there you go. Let me find it. There it is. But the dodgy guy had more energy than the Kiwi guy and attacked him on the astral level, and the Kiwi guy went back into his body, and it took him about 3 days of rest to get his normal energy back. That's some Doctor Strange shit going on there, isn't it? I couldn't even tell you what's going on that one. That's mad. That's mad. I love it, though. Emma. So I'm sometimes able to lucid dream, so I may try the rope pulling thing, see if it gets me an out-of-body experience. Yeah, why not? Try it. I just thought I was having an out-of-body experience there, was vibrating and a whooshing sound turned out. Oh, God. Of course you were farting loud and proud. Nice. Of course. Oh, man. Oh, dear Lord. There's so many cool comments, though. So I'm sorry if I miss any of your comments, because I'm trying to go through quite quickly. I know that there's lots of people putting comments in. I use a mantra before I start an out-of-body experience and call on my guardians to assist me in traveling safely and protecting me while I'm in the out-of-body experience. That's cool. What's this? Spookfest. You can look up Area 52 and he went to Monroe Institute, and it's very cool. They practice out-of-body experience. Yeah. That is cool. It is fascinating. Hey, Mickey. Good evening. There you go. What's I say? My fear of an OBE is another spirit or energy taking over, like possession. That would be very, very unfortunate. Yeah, there is. There's been a couple. I was reading about a couple of cases where people who have had an out-of-body experience then become aware of like a third party. And it's not a nice experience. There's this third party is like a group of people or a number of spirit people who are kind of, I don't know how you describe it, but it kind of forcing you to go back or telling you to do things when you don't want to do. And anyway, it's very strange, very, very strange. Lynn68. Hello. The stress and anxiety can cause detachment of your body, as if you can see yourself. It's your brain trying to protect you from pain. Yeah, absolutely. It is one of those things where people have said it's a possible explanation for things. I talked about it earlier. Psychological factors, trauma, high stress, disassociation, panic attacks, sleep disorders, substance use, sensory deprivation, and deliberate induction can all apparently cause out-of-body experiences as well. Just seeing I normally come out of my body at night, but definitely will tonight sleeping next to your house. Hello there. Good evening. TLS, how are we doing? It's a Spookfest. Let's go back to your comment a second. It was weird as hell looking down at myself before I went to the other place. I remember my friends freaking a bit and me holding my friend's shoe. Lots of blood. Don't car surf on top of car. Christ, says Spookfest. Bloody hell, you're lucky. My God, yeah. I remember there was a massive craze for car surfing thing. Just, wow. You're lucky you're still here. Bloody hell. So Belfast, it was my way to escape a domestic violent marriage and gave me freedom and a way to escape. Oh, that's actually, I mean, that I can see why that'd be a lovely way to kind of escape from things. It's weird. I never had sleep paralysis until we moved into this house and had an out-of-body experience in this house too, in my 40s. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had an out-of-body experience. I'm a little bit jealous of anybody who can willingly have one, I've got to say. And again, let's have a look. They do say the brain stays alive 8 minutes after death. Very strange. Also, the 21-gram experiments are interesting. Show we have a soul in a way. And is it possible that those who experience being outside their body are just dreaming? Well, yeah. I mean, there's those that that there are those that might think that it's somebody in a deep sleep and just making up. But the thing which, like I said earlier, the thing which really fries my brain is the ones where people have seen the spirit body of somebody having an out of body experience. That really, I mean, if it's, I mean, obviously, that people will be, oh, that's anecdotal and that's no proof of anything and things like that. But I find those accounts really, really fascinating because it means that it's not just going on within somebody's head. Obviously the neuroscientists will say it is purely going on within your head. You're in a state, you're asleep, you're in a deep state of relaxation. This is purely going on in your head, whether it's through brain injury, trauma, epilepsy, drug use, whatever. It is purely going on within your head. But those people who say, I saw somebody was astral, my boyfriend was astral, having an astral projection or whatever, an out-body experience, and I saw him floating above his own body. That's a separate person seeing that. That's really interesting. Really interesting. There we go. Yeah, Beardo just saying about Darren Brown. Yeah, anyone else think that Darren Brown is in fact a mentalist but highly gifted medium that is lying to us all? No, I think Darren Brown's the devil. I think that's the only way that Darren Brown can do what he does. He is incredible, absolutely incredible. I love Darren Brown. That doesn't mean I love the devil, but I do think he's fascinating. Hey, Wonjo. Hello. I once took an absurd amount of mushrooms and ended up back in 1986, back at the house where I grew up. Freaked me out. Man, I bet you had some stories to tell on that one. My God. I mean, going back to 1986, though, that's a great time to go back, though, isn't it? I mean, that's if I could pick a year, mid 80s, that's got to be up there, isn't it? Great times. If you want someone to interview on Crop Circles, she is awesome. Definitely know her stuff on the real Crop Circles. Oh, Patty Greer. Okay, thank you. I mean, I'm very kind of skeptical of Crop Circles, but if somebody can convince me they're not just some bunch of students arsing around in the field, then absolutely, I'll definitely listen to her. Hey there, Kenny Bill. Good evening. I'm sorry if you've been in the chat for so long. What's that, Simon? What if you have an out-of-body experience and you accidentally go back to the wrong body? That's a whole other thing. That's a future podcast on possession, I think. Yeah, I'm with John Boy on this one. This is the only thing. This is seemingly the only thing that leaves my body. Yeah, exactly. Ass, gas, and dribble. It's about spot on. Uh, there we go. Oh, cool. You can induce a lucid dream by concentrating on a sound like a tablet or trained sounds. Yeah, I mean that's one of the things they say is you can induce these out of body type experiences through different means. I know Fairy Godfather. I know Fairy Godfather is my Fairy Godfather Lee. I know Weird Fox. I know. I only get it halfway through. I'm a bit slow. I realized. Um, yeah. So yeah. So absolutely. So Palm saying that 21 gram thing is just that taken into account when you pass your muscles relax and you eject bodily fluids, etc. Yeah. Um, out of body experience. Thuna's moot. Cough cough. Yes, I had a slight out of body experience, but I didn't have an out. Well, I kind of had an out of body experience, but it was good times. It was not at all to do with that edible. Anyway, it was good fun. Let's have a look. So Spookfest. Let's go to the Monroe Institute. Best way to have an out of body experience. Probably they have pods with the tones and stuff. I mean, I would happily. I'd love to have that experience of a full out of body experience. I've got to say, I would happily put myself into that situation, and I know that Dr. Cal Cooper has done a lot with what they called that. Those water tanks where I can't remember the name of them, proper name of them. There's a proper name of them, but the water tanks where you get yourself into a certain kind of relaxed meditative state. Yeah, I know, Kennyville. I know, real crop circles. Yes, I know. I'm with you. I know. But anyway, so yeah, if you see a crop circle that's been created by something that's not some bloke with a plank of wood and a bit of rope, then yeah, I'll be very impressed. I agree with you, Justin. But do you not sometimes wonder what he can do? Doesn't tell people. Yeah, I mean, you're talking Darren Brown here. That absolutely. Yeah, I'm. It's what he knows that I think it is really fascinating. So Pomp, what's he saying? Read an article in Fate and Fortune about a woman had an out-of-body experience, caught her husband sleeping with the woman 3 houses up the road. But did she? Was he? I suppose is the thing. Or did it turn out to be absolutely true? The moment concentration comes into play, my brain just walks away. Yeah, that's the thing. I just don't think I'm good at getting to that heightened state of relaxation where I can induce an out of body experience. I'm just constantly aware and fidgeting and just I can't do it. I cannot do it. Oh, there we go, Kaza. The solfeggio frequency works in harmony with your crown character and pineal gland. The vibrations will guide you for spiritual reflection. There you go, Kenny. Look that up. That's what. There you go. I think of all people, Kenny Biddle needs to play the solfeggio frequency in his office in order to in order to find spiritual enlightenment, because I would love that. Sleep. Oh, thank you, Roger. Sleep deprivation. Yeah, flotation tanks. That's the one, Emma. Yes, sensory deprivation. Yeah, I mean, I've never been in a flotation tank. I mean, they sound kind of nice, but I've got to say, I think if I was in a flotation tank, I'll do what I probably normally do: is get really relaxed, floating around in the lovely salty water, listening to the tunes and the kind of the lights and stuff, and just fall asleep. I think that's all I'm likely to do, to be honest. Out of body experience. I like Wim Hof breathing technique. It got me home a few weeks quicker when paralyzed after my coma. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've been having cold showers when it was the heat wave, but that's a whole other thing. That's nothing to do with him. We're all talking about the 80s now. That's it. We just started on the 80s conversation. What's this one? On YouTube, the solfeggio BAB sounds, that binaural beats. Sounds are there and will play for a few hours. Best to start, then scrub to the end, then replay as adverts in the middle of an out-body experience isn't cool or helpful. No, I can imagine it wouldn't be. I'm guessing though, you probably could get them on Spotify where you wouldn't have those adverts halfway through. I'm guessing, maybe. What's this one? When I first started outbodies, they say to only stay in the area of your room. Then, as you get more experience, you travel further. Oh, that'd be good. There you go. I would genuinely love Beardo and Kenny Biddle to listen to some binaural beats and some whatever that solfeggio, whatever it is, frequency, and have a full blown out of body experience, and then report back. Just see how it came across for them. That'd be great. Right. Let's have a look. They probably have out of body experience, professional security, so you get kicked out even in your astral form area. Yeah. No, my luck, absolutely, probably. All right, let me just turn this overlay off now. Okay, I'm going to be finishing soon. First of all, thank you so much for all these comments. They are genuinely really, really fascinating. This whole topic could just run and run and run, I reckon. What's that? 80s was it cardigan tank tops, waffle trousers? Hey, waffle weave trousers, yeah. Tank tops. Hey, you can't knock a tank top. This is the whole this whole subject. We could just run and run and run. It is a really, really fascinating area. There's enough for your whole diehard skeptic than to kind of go down the psychological, the neurological point of view. But I think there's enough weirdness for it to be not completely explained by science. So I love it. This is the kind of stuff I love. Thank you to all of your comments. Really, I mean, it's just been fascinating, and it's this whole hour has just flown by. Just to let you know, and before you guys go, next Monday, at 7 p.m. So this is an hour earlier than my podcast. 7 p.m. There is the premiere of a new, and I've been putting it on Facebook and stuff, but it's a new premiere of a new 10-part paranormal series, which I'm in one episode of, one small part of it, called it's going to be The Supernatural UK. Please don't go and have a look at their channel. Try and subscribe to them so you don't miss out on it on YouTube. So put in The Supernatural UK. It's going to be premiering their first episode with me and Diane Chambers, who's in the chat as a mod. We're there. We went to the Museum of Curiosities in Nottingham because John Shackleton, the filmmaker, this is not a YouTuber thing. John Shackleton is a professional documentary filmmaker, and he works on, he's done movies and TV and stuff like that, right? So this is not just some YouTuber thing that's going on. So he's done 10 episodes. Me and Diana are in the first one. We are the premiere. Anyway, so we are the premiere one, and we are going to be, it's basically all around essentially haunted dolls in the Museum of Curiosities in Nottingham. Please do go check it out. Please do go to the Supernatural UK, find that channel, subscribe to them, because it has been done so well, this series. The whole point of this series really was to get a group of individuals, a group of people, investigators, those who believe in the paranormal, those who are skeptical like myself, those like Kev Kerr, but also people who are much more kind of spiritual in the way they can conduct things. Calm down, Mr. Moss. All right, Beardo. And so they've got together a group of people, and John has essentially just said, right, here's the location, off you go. Do what you do, and I'll record it. So that it's not kind of scripted. I am out of sync. I know it's crap. It's like I say, it's not been scripted. John had a particular remit about what he wanted us to do, but there's nothing scripted or fake about it. He wanted to get a group of people from different mindsets and different backgrounds and different jobs, go to different locations and record us trying to get in contact with something. So me and Diane we're the first one. We're episode 1, and we're there looking for haunted dolls. So you will see my sarcasm. Surprise, surprise. You'll also see Diane's spiritual side, where she does a little bit of a divination thing going on. Not my thing. Not my thing. Anyway, so Diane does her spiritual thing, but please do check that out. So at 7 p.m., that's the first episode. And at 8 p.m., with the Paranormal Monkey podcast, I will be speaking to the likes of, I'm sure Diane will be on there, Diane and John Shackleton and a few other members from the people who are involved in the making of this whole series. So yeah, watch it at 7, come to me at 8, and we're good to go. All right, and hopefully, I know I got a stink on the show. Bugger off, Tim. No, I'm not, because when it's somebody who's got decent equipment and it can deal with sound, then no, I'm not out of sync. But yeah, so the previews are on there. So it's get it right, the Supernatural UK. Go and check it out. Please do follow them. I think it's going to be really good. It's starting on YouTube. I have a funny feeling it might get picked up by a TV channel, because it's the kind of stuff they love. It's all been purpose made. It's all been made for TV. So it's all ready to go. It looks really professional, looks really cool. I'm really happy to be part of it. I'm sure Diane's really happy to be part of it as well. Thank you, Tim, for putting in the for the link. Thank you so much for that, Tim. So please do go check it out. It'll be cool. Looking forward to it. So that's on Monday. Are you going to put in 90 minutes on Monday then, as well as? I mean, there might be lots to talk about. I mean, I'm. The thing is with that whole series is that that because it's a wide range of people that's involved, you're going to have people who are not going to like it, because because there will be some people who are more spiritual minded. They'll be like, oh God, they're using this, or they're using that, or whatever. But hopefully there's enough. It's just there's enough. There's no fakery whatsoever. So it's a case of should be enough people that are just level-headed and skeptically minded, like myself, that will just there go, actually, there's nothing here. So yeah, it's got that kind of mix, that kind of blend. Anyway, enough rambling. Thank you so much, everybody. Anyway, yes, so I shall see you next Monday, 8 p.m. So please go and watch the premiere, the first episode with me and Diane at 7 p.m. Then we'll talk to everybody on the podcast at 8 p.m. It's absolutely, Diane saying it's a whole mixed bag. Looking forward to it. Should be good. Anyway, I shall leave it there. Thank you, everybody. And thank you again to Mike and Kaza for donating those memberships. I really do appreciate it. And I shall see you next week. Thank you. And hopefully next week, my microphone will be in sync. Maybe. Anyway, go check out less than an hour. Go and see Side Eye Guy. He's going live in 55 minutes. So I might see you then. All right. All night, guys.